Alright, quick update on ZIL. So it's been a couple of days since we fell out of this bear flag. Unfortunately, ZIL was not looking too good right now. It seems like we had a fake out on the daily squeeze mom. We were obviously having this momentum shift. I myself was bullish when we were at the bottom of this channel. Obviously, we were waiting for a break to the upside or the downside either way. And unfortunately, we have had the move to the downside. So let's see what's going on now. If we come over to the lower time frames, you can really see we're getting hammered against these 4-hourly EMAs. Bears have been in full control of this for quite a while now, so not looking too good for ZIL. Every time we come and reset bearish momentum, we just reaccumulate it back to the upside, reset, reaccumulate, reset, reaccumulate. So lower time frames, bears are definitely in control. The higher time frame you come to, it's more questionable whether the bears or the bulls are in control. However, you know, judging on this, well, I mean, depending on whether you want to look at this from a macro or a micro view, technically the macro is bullish because we came up, we came down. Well, technically we took out the 786. I mean, if we drew it to the close, to be fair, the close is right here as well. So even on the close, it seems like we overshot the 786 fib by quite a bit, but at least from a technical perspective on the fibs right now, we are above the 786 Fibonacci, so macro term you are bullish. However, I don't really like the setup we're seeing right now on ZIL. You can see we were seeing this momentum shift, and specifically on the weekly, I think we talked about this. You know, normally when you have these momentum shifts, you do normally see at least continuation over the next couple of weeks or so. I mean, this doesn't look like too much of a rally because I'm zoomed out and it's the weekly time frame, but the last time we had a weekly momentum shift, you know, we were up 61% or so before we rolled back over. And in this instance, from the weekly momentum shift, I mean, to be fair, yeah, I mean, we've already had the weekly momentum shift, so it seems like the move for ZIL is now done. On the weekly, you can see the squeeze mom tried to flip over to the bullish side of things and then kind of got beaten down by the bears, unfortunately. This is only recently fired bearish on the weekly in the past couple of days. I have been waiting to give a macro update on this. I thought the best time to give it was when we have the signal fire on the weekly squeeze mom. Also, very interesting on the weekly, we're coming down to a very, very pivotal area of support right now. So you can see your 200-day moving average. Previously, the 200-day has been somewhat decently respected in this case. You can see it was support throughout, or it was resistance during its first run, resistance, resistance, resistance. We hopped above it, back tested it twice, and then that was when your rally came in. We came down from the rally. We did not manage to hold the 200-day. We got, you know, 1 rejection, 2 rejections, 3 rejections, and, you know, a plethora of rejections on the way down here, another rejection here. And we only really started gearing up for these big moves once we hopped above the 200-day moving average. So your 200-day, and very importantly as well, your 1-week EMA ribbons. So these EMA ribbons, they did recently fire bullish rather. I don't believe I talked about this bullish fire. Oh, it's probably because it says it's bullish here, but it actually flipped long on this weekly candle, which was not too long ago. So, you know, like I said, we have fallen out of some very, very important areas of support. On the daily, we are now below the daily EMA ribbons, which are now converging to the downside. Your squeeze mom is still trying to have that flip. But, you know, obviously because we've come down so harsh, because we've had this fake out in terms of this weekly momentum shift, very similar to what we saw over here, it does almost look like the move is over for ZIL. And, you know, I've looked at the ZIL news. Absolutely nothing has changed in regards to ZIL. They have a few new partnerships with some gaming companies. I won't get into it in this video because it's really, really not anything big. If anything, it's more like small bullish things. Like I believe they just had their 2 millionth block, or was it 2 billionth block? It doesn't really matter. You know, ZIL is doing bits over time in the macro term. However, in the micro term, unfortunately, you know, we are heading down. So where could we possibly see for a trend reversal? Well, like I said, we do have strong support coming in between 8 and 7.7 cent. If we lose that, your 786 is all the way down here at 6.5 cents. So I would be sitting on the sidelines waiting for a big bounce or a reversal signal to come in once again. If anything, I'd really like to see us coming down, either bouncing on the weekly EMA ribbons, which we are literally sitting on right now, or your 200-day moving average down at 0.77 recurring. So either of these regions would be a decent place for a bounce. However, you know, it is very important to be cautious when we are in a bearish environment like this. Bitcoin is also struggling a bit, so you know, you can imagine if Bitcoin is getting chopped around for the past couple of weeks, a lot of these altcoins, ZIL included. I mean, ZIL really topped out on the 1st of April, and on the 1st of April you can very much see this was pretty much not the exact top, but you know, basically if you were doing this on the weekly time frame, this was the exact top of Bitcoin's recent move. So I imagine ZIL will start moving very soon once the markets start heating up. However, for Bitcoin, we are in chop nation right now. In the smaller time frames, you can see we are getting chopped up in this descending channel. So until Bitcoin has a macro breakout, I've been saying this in a lot of my altcoin videos recently, I am being very picky with the altcoin setups that I do choose to take on ZIL. And while I do like that we are coming into this weekly EMA, on more macro time frames like your weekly, you know, this fake out that we've had in terms of the momentum, it is really not what you want to see. If anything, this is calling for much lower price targets. For example, we'll move back down to potentially 6 cent, or maybe we'll move down to a psychological level like 5 cent. I don't believe there's any price target down at 5 cent. However, you do have your 200 EMA. Let me see. Yeah, this is your 200 EMA. So your 200 EMA is probably just going to converge and stay the same level. It's probably just going to go sideways. So this is coming in at around about 5.4. So, you know, we could have a further move to the downside for ZIL before we do start to warm up. I do think that's definitely in the cards. However, like I said, you know, coming over to some of these important higher time frames, we are running into a huge area of support right now. Once again, I'm not planning to long these from the support. I would be looking for a trend reversal for ZIL, because this looks like a very clear blow off top in my opinion. This came up and down very fast, and the only crypto that I've seen, at least, you know, that I cover in the past couple of weeks or so, has been waves. And normally when you see these big blow off tops, you know, failed momentum swings and then starting to converge down, it's normally a sign that we're going to revisit lower price targets. So we could perhaps re-enter another accumulation range. We have the most accumulation. I mean, we haven't really, we've really been chopping, so I wouldn't be surprised if we did come down, you know, lose your 786 and then maybe have an accumulation range for a short period of time before we do have a reversal. However, you know, like I said, I wouldn't be trading any of this right now while the markets are, you know, very uncertain on what is going on, especially in Bitcoin. So finishing off with our momentum, with our oscillators rather, if we start off with the RSI is very beat down. We are losing all strength in the market. And what's interesting is your money flow indicator is still kind of sitting around that halfway region, meaning there could be a huge influx of money to the upside or the downside, depending on which way the markets move. So, you know, this kind of ties into what we're seeing with this huge macro support that we're coming down to, where we're either about to see a big push to the upside or a big push to the downside, and we should definitely wait to see how this plays out. I said the same thing when I made my video about 5 days ago or a week ago. I said we were going to be having a big momentum shift either to the upside or the downside. We would need to wait to see what's going on, and obviously we've had the move to the downside. Not looking too good once again. I'm sitting on the sidelines for this one. If anything, I'd want to have a lower price target and then a confirmed trend reversal so I can enter from a position of strength. But like I said, you know, your oscillators, they're very 50-50. Bear in mind, we still do have a lot of room to move to the downside if we do decide that is the direction we want to move as well. Coming over to higher time frames like the weekly, you can still see we are very overextended. So, you know, this is really a do or die moment in my opinion for ZIL. I do think massive volatility is going to be entering the market soon. On the much lower time frames, you know, we are very oversold, so you could perhaps see, you know, a dead cat bounce perhaps up to 10 cent. This is an orange line, so this would be a Fibonacci, the next target up. And you can see that would bring us back into the 618. So if we are having a macro trend reversal and we're moving to the downside, a move up to the 618 and a rejection could be your last nail in the coffin that we're about to come down to some of these lower regions. That is all I've got for ZIL. I will keep you updated. As always, none of this is financial advice. It is just my opinion on the market. And final thing before we do wrap up the video, I have finally made the Cowboy Discord. So if you do want to come over, join the Discord, you know, it's mainly for sharing memes, time sensitive information, and really just chatting with the community. So if you do want to join that, the link will be in the description of this video, and it will also be in the social links to my YouTube channel. So if you want to join, come join. Hope to come talk to you guys over there. That's all I've got for you for ZIL. As always, none of this is financial advice, just my opinion, and yeah, Cowboy out. Peace.